Every woman may meet many men in her life, but there's only one kind she will fight to keep. There is a kind of man who is quietly disappearing from the modern world, a man so rare that when a woman meets him, she knows losing him would be a mistake she can't afford. He doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, and he never surrenders his worth just to hold on to love. In an age of noise and constant reaction, his calm presence feels like finding solid ground in a world that won't stop shaking. Most men today have been taught to prove themselves through volume. More texts, more effort, more emotion on display. But respect doesn't grow louder, it grows deeper. And the man who cannot master himself eventually loses both love and admiration. In this video, we'll break down the rare qualities that make a man unforgettable, the traits that inspire respect, create emotional safety, and make a woman quietly fear losing him. You'll learn why these qualities matter now more than ever and how to build them in your own life. Brother, if you've ever felt respect slip away the moment you lost control, drop a 1. If you're still learning to hold the line, drop a 2. Like this video so more men can rise with strength. Subscribe to Stoic Station for daily lessons on silence, discipline, and inner power. Start this journey now, because the first step is understanding why the moment you lose your cool, you quietly lose her respect, and how mastering your emotions changes everything. Let's dive in. 1. Emotional stability and self-control. The moment a man loses his cool, he quietly loses a woman's respect. In an age where everyone reacts at lightning speed, tweets of rage, late-night text storms, public meltdowns, the man who can stay calm when everything else feels on fire becomes magnetic. His composure isn't coldness, it's strength under pressure. And in a world that feels unstable, strength is rare. Many men confuse emotional display with proof of love. When she pulls away, they panic. They write long explanations, argue harder, send one more message hoping to pull her back. Yet every outburst chips away at the quiet admiration she once had. She doesn't always tell you this, but each time you crumble, a seed of doubt takes root. If life gets harder than this, will he still be able to stand? Picture a heated moment, accusations flying, notifications lighting up your screen. Most men let adrenaline drive their thumbs and tongues. One reckless text, one angry voicemail, one public outburst can break trust faster than silence ever could. But the man with emotional stability keeps the wheel in his own hands. He knows that his reaction today can rewrite her belief about who he truly is. It isn't easy. Modern life rewards impulsivity. Social media has trained us to vent instantly, to prove a point before thinking. Friends say, fight for her. But fighting without self-control isn't fighting for love, it's surrendering to chaos. True strength shows when you feel the fire rise and still choose discipline over drama. Every time you explode, you confirm her suspicion that you're fragile. Every time you beg, you prove you cannot stand alone. She might not say it, but she begins to imagine what life would feel like next to a man who steadies her instead of shaking. No woman wants to live inside a storm. Emotional stability is not numbness, it's mastery. It's feeling anger, grief, jealousy, even fear, but refusing to let those feelings own your actions. It's knowing when to speak with clarity, when to pause and let the storm pass, when to walk away instead of turning pain into noise. It's using silence, not as punishment, but as self-protection. This is Stoicism alive. Command what is within you, release what you cannot control. When you hold yourself steady, you become the calm in the storm. You radiate safety without ever saying, "You can trust me." People simply feel it. Women especially sense it. Respect grows quietly when they see that your emotions are yours to manage, not theirs to tame. In a dating culture where drama is cheap and emotional volatility is common, the man who masters himself stands out as rare, and rarity changes the dynamic. A calm, self-possessed man is hard to replace. He is the anchor she can lean on when life unravels, the one who does not break when tested, the one who doesn't hand away his peace of mind for temporary validation. Once she's experienced that strength, the idea of losing it becomes quietly terrifying. Few things are more attractive than emotional safety. Few things feel riskier to let go. This is why self-control is not weakness, but quiet power. It takes discipline to hold back an angry reply, to pause before proving a point, to choose dignity over desperation. It requires a deep belief that you can handle pain without collapsing, and that your worth doesn't depend on her reaction. That belief is built over time, through reflection, practice, and a decision to be guided by reason, not impulse. Men who embrace this path separate themselves from the noise. They stop competing for attention through volume and start commanding respect through presence. And respect lasts longer than attraction born of drama. When you are calm under fire, she begins to see you as not just a man, but a safe harbor in a chaotic world. The truth is simple but rarely lived. Mastery of self is the highest form of power. Lose it, and you lose more than an argument. You lose the quiet trust that makes love last. Keep it, and you become unforgettable, because safety in a man is scarce, and scarcity makes hearts hold on tighter. 2. Live with clear purpose. A man without purpose drifts, and nothing makes a woman feel more alone than walking beside a man who is lost. In a world full of noise, where every day is filled with scrolling, comparing, and reacting, the man who knows where he's going becomes magnetic. He moves with an energy that can't be faked. He doesn't need to tell you who he is. His direction speaks for him. Too many men surrender their identity to relationships. They wait for someone to give them meaning. They trade their ambitions for comfort and call it love. But what they're really doing is abandoning the very thing that made them captivating in the first place. In trying to hold on, they stop growing. And when growth stops, respect slowly fades. She doesn't want to lead a man who lost himself. She wants to walk beside one who is already moving. Picture waking up and reaching for your phone before you've even thought about your day, checking her messages before your own priorities, wandering through endless feeds, caught in highlights of other men building, creating, striving, while you remain stuck in the same loop. The modern world is designed to seduce men into passivity, endless videos, gaming loops, quick dopamine hits. Purpose gets pushed back for later, but later rarely arrives. And while you may not say it out loud, she can feel it. The lack of gravity in your life when you aren't anchored to a larger vision. A man without mission is easily swayed, easily distracted, and easily forgotten. He becomes a passenger in his own story, waiting for validation to give him direction. A woman may stay with him out of comfort or convenience, but she will not fear losing him. Because how do you lose someone who isn't truly going anywhere? Living with purpose isn't about fame or wealth. It's about clarity. It's about choosing a direction and building toward it with discipline. It's about waking up knowing what you are moving toward, your craft, your work, your health, your growth, and refusing to let distractions own you. A man with vision doesn't need to shout it. His actions reveal it. He knows what to say yes to and what to reject, because he's building something that matters. His life becomes full, and she must rise if she wants to keep up. This is why purpose is magnetic. It creates momentum that can't be manufactured by charm or attention alone. It gives you quiet confidence because you're not waiting for approval to start. It builds discipline because meaningful work requires sacrifice. And it creates respect because people admire those who know where they're going. For a woman, standing beside a man with direction is both inspiring and sobering. She knows if she drifts, he will keep moving. Purpose turns you from just a partner into a force. It gives security without dependence, inspiration without arrogance. And once a woman experiences that energy, she knows she's walking beside a story still unfolding. To step away from it would mean stepping out of a journey she may never find again. And that thought alone is enough to make her hold on tighter. 3. Unshakable confidence. Confidence isn't noise, it's silent power. The man who needs no applause, no constant reminder that he matters, becomes untouchable. He isn't swayed by opinions, trends, or rejection. In a world addicted to validation, this calm self-belief stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. A man who carries this quiet certainty cannot be manipulated because his worth doesn't live in someone else's hands. Too many men, however, build their confidence on fragile ground. They chase likes, compliments, and endless reassurance. They measure their value by the messages she sends, the attention she gives, the way others perceive them online. And when that supply runs dry, they shrink. Insecurity creeps in as jealousy, overcompensation, or control. What once seemed strong becomes needy, and what once looked attractive starts to feel heavy. It's easy to see why. Modern life thrives on comparison. Scroll long enough and you'll find curated perfection, luxury trips, flawless bodies, endless success stories. If you lack deep self-acceptance, you begin to feel small. You start proving yourself, to her, to strangers, to an invisible audience that doesn't even know you. Without realizing it, you trade authenticity for performance. You stop being you and start being a character desperate for applause. This desperation always backfires. When your worth depends on her approval, you begin to overgive, overtext, overanalyze every silence. You cling to her responses as proof you matter. But confidence built on her reaction is no confidence at all. It's borrowed power, and borrowed power collapses the moment it's not renewed. Women admire strength, but they grow weary of insecurity. At first, your vulnerability may seem endearing, but when you constantly ask for proof that you matter, through jealousy, reassurance-seeking, or emotional overexposure, you stop being a rock and start becoming another burden. She begins to wonder if loving you means carrying the weight of your doubt forever. And no one wants to hold someone else's fragility forever. Unshakable confidence is different. It's radical self-acceptance. It's looking at your flaws and your strengths with honesty and owning them. It's refusing to be a chameleon just to win approval. It's choosing authenticity over performance, even if that means fewer claps from the crowd. It's detaching your value from outcomes you can't control, including love. This is the heart of Stoic self-respect. I am enough, whether I'm praised or ignored. I build my life on my own foundation. When a man reaches this place, his presence changes. He doesn't have to announce his worth. It's felt. He doesn't crumble when love wavers or when someone walks away. He doesn't chase to prove he's lovable. He keeps walking with quiet assurance. His decisions become clearer because they're no longer fueled by fear of rejection. He's willing to stay, willing to love deeply, but never willing to beg to be seen. This steadiness is rare in a world built on comparison and craving, and what's rare is feared to be lost. A woman who meets a man grounded in self-belief understands something profound. He will not collapse if she leaves. He will not lose himself to keep her. His love is offered, but it isn't desperate. That quiet certainty is magnetic because it's safe and challenging at the same time. It inspires her to rise, but also reminds her that she must value what she's been given. True confidence cannot be faked. Arrogance masks insecurity. Real confidence requires acceptance and discipline. It's forged through failures faced with dignity, through rejection survived without bitterness, through years of choosing authenticity over approval. That journey creates a man who doesn't need to compete for validation because he is busy becoming who he's meant to be. And that is the man she fears losing, not because he plays games, but because his foundation doesn't shake. He doesn't need to be chosen to know his worth. He offers love, but he never surrenders himself to keep it. In a world where most crumble without external approval, the man who stands unshaken is unforgettable. And once she experiences that strength, she knows letting it go could mean never finding it again. 4. Lead with quiet strength. Leadership isn't domination. Strength isn't shouting. Real power is calm direction when everything around you is falling apart. The man who leads with quiet strength doesn't need to raise his voice or demand obedience. His steadiness speaks louder than any threat. In a world where chaos is loud, the man who remains composed becomes a rare source of gravity. Many men confuse control with leadership. They think being a leader means demanding, intimidating, or making everyone obey. Others retreat when life grows heavy, hoping someone else will step in. Neither extreme builds trust. A man who uses fear to lead creates distance. A man who disappears when pressure rises creates resentment. True leadership isn't about ego, it's about presence. Picture a crisis, financial pressure that won't go away, family issues tearing at stability, emotional storms that would shake anyone. Some men panic, some lash out, some hide. But the rare man steadies himself first. He takes time to breathe, to think, to assess. Then he brings calm to those around him. He doesn't promise perfection, but his composed presence becomes the signal that it's safe to move forward. Our era makes this harder than ever. We live in a time that discourages true leadership. Men hesitate to take a stand, fearing backlash, judgment, and endless criticism. Social media punishes missteps and shames decisions. Many choose silence or indecision just to avoid being wrong. But indecision breeds chaos, and chaos erodes trust, especially in relationships. Without someone steady to lean on, the foundation quietly cracks. A woman cannot lean on a man who collapses under pressure. She may comfort him, she may care for him, but something subtle changes when she realizes she has to steer both of you through life's storms. Desire starts to fade when she becomes the only anchor. Fear of losing him disappears when his presence no longer feels like protection. She may love him, but she no longer looks up to him. Quiet strength changes that dynamic. Leadership isn't control, it's vision and guidance. Strength isn't domination, it's resilience in hardship. It's the ability to hold your ground without crushing others, to make decisions when uncertainty is high, to remain calm when everyone else reacts. It's protecting without suffocating, inspiring without manipulating. It's living with clear boundaries and steady principles so people know where you stand. True leaders are willing to be decisive even when it's uncomfortable. They listen deeply but act with conviction. They protect their loved ones not by controlling every move, but by being a stable presence that absorbs chaos instead of spreading it. They're not immune to fear. They simply refuse to let fear decide for them. This kind of strength doesn't roar, it reassures. When a man leads with quiet strength, he does more than keep a relationship safe, he elevates it. His presence allows a woman to relax into trust instead of constantly scanning for danger or instability. She feels secure enough to grow, to be vulnerable, to love fully, because she knows the man beside her won't crumble. And in a world where stability is rare, that security is priceless. This isn't about perfection. You don't have to have every answer. You don't have to carry every burden alone. Quiet strength is about being centered enough to face life with courage, clarity, and consistency. It's about showing that when the storm comes, you will not run, hide, or destroy everything around you. You will stand, think, and lead forward. A man who embodies this kind of authority becomes more than a lover. He becomes an anchor, not because he controls, but because he holds steady. Anchors are rare, and once experienced, their loss feels dangerous. A woman who has stood beside a man who leads with quiet strength knows what it's like to feel safe, inspired, and guided at the same time. Losing that presence means losing a kind of stability she may never find again. And that fear of loss, subtle but powerful, makes quiet strength one of the most unforgettable forces a man can possess. 5. Respect and boundaries. Respect is not earned by pleasing, it is preserved by boundaries. Too many men believe love is about endless tolerance. They think if they give enough, stay quiet enough, forgive enough, a woman will reward that sacrifice with loyalty. But devotion bought at the cost of self-respect never inspires admiration. It breeds entitlement, and entitlement always kills desire. We live in a culture of over-access. Technology makes it possible to demand someone's attention at any moment. Text now, call now, expect instant replies. Many men hand over full emotional availability before trust has been earned. They drain themselves for people who haven't yet proven they value that access. In their fear of losing love, they abandon their own worth. Without boundaries, love doesn't deepen, it corrodes. When you let disrespect slide, when you say yes to everything just to keep peace, you begin to disappear piece by piece. She might not tell you, but she notices. She senses when she can cross lines without consequence. And with each boundary broken, admiration slips quietly away. Love becomes resentment. You resent her for overstepping, and she resents you for being too weak to hold the line. When a woman sees a man ignore his own worth just to keep her close, she subconsciously stops respecting him. She may stay because it's convenient or comforting, but the fear of losing him vanishes. Why fear losing someone who fears losing you more? The dynamic flips. Instead of being valued, you become safe to take for granted. And once you're easy to take for granted, passion and respect fade. Real respect begins inward. It starts with valuing your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. It's the quiet strength to say no when something violates your principles. It's the courage to walk away when disrespect becomes a pattern, even if your heart still wants to stay. Loving deeply does not mean abandoning yourself. Stoicism teaches that you cannot govern anything until you first govern yourself. That includes your emotions, your reactions, and the standards you set for how others treat you. Boundaries are not walls, they are clarity. They show others where your dignity lives and how to honor it. They protect your love from turning toxic. They tell the world, this is what I accept, this is what I will not. And they tell a woman that while you love her, you will not lose yourself for her. That combination, love with self-respect, creates an unspoken challenge. If she wants to stay close, she must meet you at that level. A man who holds his boundaries with calm confidence creates a relationship that is safe, fair, and non-toxic. He doesn't yell, manipulate, or threaten. He doesn't punish with silence or games, but he will not tolerate disrespect. His partner knows he will love fully, but never at the expense of his soul. That quiet, steady line draws admiration instead of entitlement. And this is where fear of loss is born, not through intimidation or control, but through rarity. A man who can love deeply and still protect his identity is rare. He's rare because most men bend under pressure, hoping to be chosen. He's rare because he chooses himself first, and then chooses to love. Once a woman experiences this kind of love, safe yet self-possessed, she knows it's not easily found again. Losing it means stepping back into a world full of men who give everything and, in the process, lose themselves. Boundaries keep respect alive. Respect keeps love alive. And love without respect slowly dies. The man who understands this doesn't need to threaten or prove his worth. His strength speaks for him. If you cross his lines and refuse to honor his value, he will walk away. That quiet certainty changes everything. It makes his presence feel precious, his love feel earned, and his loss something to truly fear. 6. Be rare, stay valued. What's rare is respected. What's everywhere is ignored. In a world where everyone is a message away, where attention is cheap and availability is endless, the man who cannot be accessed at every moment instantly feels different. His presence carries weight because it isn't handed out to anyone who asks. Scarcity, when it comes from strength and purpose, makes a man unforgettable. Too many men do the opposite. They overshare, overgive, and overstay. They become permanently available, answering texts at midnight, rearranging their lives to fit her schedule, saying yes to every demand for time and energy. At first, it might feel like devotion. In reality, it's quiet self-erasure. Availability without boundaries doesn't create closeness. It breeds indifference. What is always present begins to fade into the background. Technology makes this trap even easier to fall into. Notifications turn men into 24/7 emotional service providers. A phone buzzes, and they answer instantly. Social media creates an illusion of connection, but it also floods women with attention. When a man blends into that noise, he loses his gravity. Constant access kills mystery, and mystery is what makes someone feel valuable. If your life is empty without her, she feels no urgency to hold on. People rarely treasure what they know will never walk away. When you center your entire existence on keeping her happy, you quietly teach her that you have nowhere else to go. That realization doesn't inspire deeper love, it breeds complacency. She may enjoy the comfort, but comfort without challenge slowly kills desire. The man who gives himself away too easily becomes background noise, and background noise is easy to replace. It doesn't matter how loving or generous he is. If he's always there, always waiting, always bending, he becomes another predictable fixture. Predictable is safe, but safe can also feel disposable. Scarcity isn't a manipulation game. It's a byproduct of living a life full of meaning, standards, and independence. It means you are selective about where you invest your time and emotional energy. It means you have passions that excite you, friendships that ground you, growth that matters more than temporary validation. You don't exist to fill someone else's emptiness. You build a world so full that others feel privileged just to be invited in. This is the heart of healthy self-respect. You choose to give, but you don't give yourself away. When you live this way, you stop chasing and start attracting. Your time becomes valuable because it isn't given blindly. Your presence carries weight because it's intentional. She begins to sense that being with you is a privilege, not an entitlement. Every interaction matters more because it isn't guaranteed. She knows losing you means losing something rare. Love combined with independence. Affection offered from strength instead of need. And that realization changes everything. The fear of losing a man like this doesn't come from control or games. It comes from knowing how uncommon he is. Most men will bend endlessly to be loved. Few have the courage to live full, purposeful lives and invite love into that fullness without losing themselves. Once a woman experiences the gravity of a man who is whole on his own, she knows replacing him won't be easy. Scarcity creates value. It keeps admiration alive because it reminds her that your love is a gift, not a guarantee. And when love feels like a gift, it's cherished, not taken for granted. In a world where most give themselves away hoping to be chosen, choose to be rare instead. Build a life worth protecting and watch how respect and desire follow. 7. The core that makes you irreplaceable. You don't become unforgettable by chasing. You become unforgettable by mastering yourself. A man's value is not built through desperate effort, but through the quiet power of self-mastery. Yet so many men believe the opposite. They send more messages, buy more gifts, make endless sacrifices, hoping that if they just give enough, love will stay. And still they find themselves unseen, unappreciated, and often left behind. Modern culture feeds this lie. Everywhere men are told that to be worthy, they must bend, please, and prove. Movies, songs, and social media glorify grand gestures, endless tolerance, and self-abandonment in the name of love. But self-abandonment doesn't build devotion, it breeds quiet contempt. Not only does she lose respect for a man who disappears into his giving, but he begins to resent himself for losing his own voice. Without self-mastery, you live in reaction. You give too much because you fear losing her. You argue too much because you're terrified of silence. You hope too much because you don't believe you are enough on your own. And she feels it. She senses that if she leaves, you will collapse. The moment she realizes your stability depends on her presence, she knows she is holding all the power. And when she holds all the power, respect quietly dies. Women don't fear losing men who crumble without them. They fear losing men who are whole on their own. A man who builds his life with strength and clarity doesn't beg to be chosen. He chooses. He doesn't anchor his identity to someone else's attention. His worth is not on loan, it is owned. If you are easy to replace in your own life, you will be easy to replace in hers. The path to being irreplaceable is not about games or manipulation. It's about building a life so grounded and meaningful that losing you would mean losing a source of strength and inspiration. It's about combining the qualities we've explored: emotional stability that makes you unshaken in storms, purpose that drives your days, confidence that doesn't beg for validation, quiet leadership that brings safety, respect and boundaries that keep love healthy, and the rarity that comes from living a full, independent life. Each trait is forged through discipline, self-reflection, and the courage to choose growth over chaos. Each trait is a decision to stand firm rather than chase. This is what true sovereignty looks like: the ability to love without losing yourself, to stay compassionate without becoming desperate, to remain calm even when tested. It is the refusal to hand over your identity for temporary affection. It is the choice to build a life that is rich, purposeful, and self-directed. Then invite someone to walk beside you rather than complete you. And when you live this way, something powerful happens. You no longer fear abandonment because you are not abandoning yourself. You no longer chase validation because you've already claimed your worth. You no longer tolerate disrespect because you know love without respect destroys both people. Instead, you offer love as a gift, not a plea. You offer stability without neediness, presence without losing direction, protection without control. You are strong but kind, confident but humble, loving but never desperate. This is the man every woman fears losing, not because he manipulates or plays hard to get, but because he is rare. He is calm in storms, clear in mission, strong yet gentle, confident without arrogance, respectful yet firm, present but never needy. His life is full, and his love, when given, is intentional and valuable. Losing him means losing safety, inspiration, and partnership built on strength rather than fragility. And deep down, she knows she may never find that again. Master yourself, and you won't have to chase love. Love will recognize the gravity of a man who cannot be broken by loss. In a world full of men trying to prove their worth, be the man who quietly knows it, and watch how unforgettable you become. Brother, everything we spoke about comes down to one truth: master yourself. When you own your emotions, live with purpose, stand confident, lead with quiet strength, protect your respect, and guard your presence, you become the man no one dares to lose. If this message spoke to you, claim it now. Like this video so more men can rise with strength. Subscribe to Stoic Station for daily lessons in silence, discipline, and inner power. Comment this truth: I master myself. Because the moment you do, you stop chasing love and start living as the man who is rare, powerful, and unforgettable.